Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Finance Minister Bishnu Podil receives the report of High-Level Economic Reform Commission, emphasis given to policy level and structural reforms for improvement in economy. Leaders within government mechanisms formed to solve political issues, support bills process and ensure smooth service delivery themselves question their effectiveness. Over 1,500 Palestinians killed since March 18, resumption of Israeli military operations in Gaza that led to the collapse of a 2-month ceasefire. And KL Rahul hits an unbeaten 93 as Delhi Capitals beat Royal Challengers Bengaluru by 6 wickets in Indian Premier League. Chennai hosts Kolkata later this evening. Finance Minister Bishnu Podil has received the report of High-Level Economic Reform Commission from its coordinator Rameshwar Khanal. While presenting the report, Commission Chair Khanal emphasized that both policy level and structural reforms are essential for the overall improvement of the economy. According to him, based on data from fiscal year 2078-79, weaknesses have been observed on the demand side.
समष्टिगत माग कमजोर भएर गयो, मान्छेको खर्च गर्ने क्षमता कमजोर भएर गयो, व्यवसायहरूले पनि लगानी गरेनन्, लगानीको लागि पनि माग कमजोर भएर गयो, माग पक्ष कमजोर भएको कारणले अर्थतन्त्र सुस्त भयो भन्ने व्याख्या छ। तर यथार्थ हाम्रो सबै अवस्थाको विश्लेषण गर्दाखेरि समस्या माग पक्षबाट मात्र होइन कि आपूर्ति पक्षबाट पनि छ। भन्नाले हाम्रो उत्पादन क्षमतामा सुधार हुन सकेको छैन। त्यसमा थुप्रै अवरोध छन्। जमिन, वन, कृषि, ऊर्जा, पर्यटन, सञ्चार, आईसीटी जुन हाम्रो आर्थिक वृद्धिका क्षेत्र बनेका छौँ त्यहाँ रहेका अवरोधको कारणले गर्दाखेरि अर्थतन्त्र अहिले सुस्त भएको हो। त्यही भएर हामीले सिफारिस गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ माग पक्षीय नीतिहरूमा पनि सुधार गर्नुपर्ने कुरा गरेका छौँ भने आपूर्ति पक्षीय नीतिहरूमा पनि सुधार गर्ने कुराहरू गरेका छौँ।
The Commission conducted around 60 rounds of discussions and gathered suggestions from experts and stakeholders, both within Nepal and abroad. From these interactions, key issues identified include a decline in consumption, stagnation in credit growth, and delays in government payments. Khanal also stated that immediate policy interventions are necessary to bring about short-term improvements in the economy. The report highlights the need for comprehensive reforms to eliminate economic sluggishness, ensure the availability of resources, and maintain macroeconomic stability. He further stressed the importance of creating an investment-friendly environment and prioritizing policies that reduce production costs. The Commission recommended removing obstacles in sectors such as agriculture, forestry, land, water, mining and information technology. It also underscores the need to build a well-defined and transparent economic framework. Now, to make the functions of the government and parliament more effective, the ruling parties formed various external structures like task forces and mechanisms. These included high-level political mechanisms aimed at solving political issues, advancing bills under consideration in parliamentary committees, and ensuring smooth service delivery. However, these mechanisms have not delivered the intended results, and the government's performance has not improved either. In fact, leaders within these very mechanisms have started questioning the government's effectiveness.
Key members of the high-level political mechanism formed under the leadership of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Dewa, including prominent leaders from both parties, have started expressing dissatisfaction with the government's work. The remarks made by Congress General Secretary Gagan Thapa are a clear example.
यो सरकारले लिने जुन दिशा हुन्छ, गति हुन्छ, खास गरी सुधारको जुन बाटोहरू छ, त्यसको नीतिगत विषयहरूमा हामीले बल पुर्याउने। त्यसैले यो बेलामा यो मान्य सम्माननीय केपी शर्मा ओलीले नेतृत्व गर्नुको सरकार जो हाम्रो जोइन्ट सरकार छ, यो सरकारले ठिक बाटो समातोस् भनेर त्यहाँ बसेर सुझाव दिने, त्यसका निम्ति मद्दत गर्ने कामहरू हामीले गरिरहेका छौं, गर्ने कोसिस गरिरहेका छौं। तर अल्टिमेटली कुरा के रहेछ भने म त त्यही कुरा बुझ्यो, यो बीड तातेर के हुँदो रहेछ, तापकै तात्नुपर्छ।
Meetings of the mechanisms have been taking place regularly, while the intent is to provide momentum to the government and prevent differences between the two parties. Members of the mechanism claim they are also working to support the government at the policy level. However, Thapa says the government has failed to act accordingly.
जुन गतिमा सरकारले काम गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो अपेक्षा हो, त्यो गतिमा काम पनि हुन सकिरहेको छैन। म अहिले जिम्मेवारीमा छु। संयन्त्रको जिम्मेवारी। कहिलेकाहीँ साथीहरूले के लाग्छ फेरि भने संयन्त्र भनिसकेपछि यसैले सबै कुरा गर्छ। यसबाट पनि तपाईहरु कम्तीमा मेरो क्षेत्रको साथीहरु क्लियर हुनुपर्छ। यो सरकारले गर्ने काम सरकारले गर्नुपर्छ हेर्नुस्, यो संयन्त्रले गर्ने भए यो नियुक्ति सरुवा बढुवा यस्तो काम पनि त्यो राजनीतिक संयन्त्रले गर्छ अथवा गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने ठान्यो भने त यो त डेमोक्रेटिक गभर्नमेन्टै भएन नि।
Based on discussions within the mechanism, ordinances were even issued to resolve legal complications, some of which have already been passed. However, questions are being raised from within the mechanism itself regarding their implementation. The government has also formed a task force for economic reforms. The task force is currently in the phase of submitting its report after completing its study. Another task force was formed, including whips from Nepali Congress and CPN UML, to make the parliament more effective. However, this task force has not been able to resolve the issues of teachers or move forward with long-pending legal demands from provincial and local levels.
संघीय निजामतीसँग सम्बन्धित विधेयकको झन्डै हामीले 80% काम सम्पन्न गरिसकेका छौं। उपसमितिले प्रतिवेदन बनाएर पठाइसकेको छ। केही विषयहरू अब कमिङ हाउसमा त्यसलाई पारित गर्ने गरी हामी जाने त्यो तहमा पुगिसकेका छौं। एउटा सकारात्मक कुरा। दोस्रो शिक्षा विधेयकका हकमा पनि हामीले 35 दिनको म्याद दिएर उपसमितिले काम गरिरहेको छ। अब मेरो विचारमा कमिङ हाउसको हामी 8-10 दिन भित्रै आह्वान भएको 8-10 दिन भित्रै त्यसलाई पारित गरेर जान सक्ने ठाउँमा त्यस हिसाबले गतिमा काम गरिरहेका छौं। त्यसैले कतिपय विधेयकका चाहिँ एकदम मल्टिपल स्टेक होल्डरहरू हुन्छन्। त्यो महत्त्वपूर्ण र दूरगामी असर पार्ने खालका विधेयकहरूले केही समयहरू छलफलकै लागि पनि लिन्छ।
Although claims were made that more than 24 bills would be passed during the legislative session, only 9 were actually passed. Bills under discussion in the committees have also failed to move forward swiftly.
विधि निर्माण जटिल विषय हो पहिलो कुरा त। दोस्रो कुरा त नयाँ विधेयकमा धेरै कुराहरू जुन नयाँ विधेयकहरू छन्, संशोधन विधेयक मैले भनिनँ, नयाँ विधेयकहरुमा धेरै कुराहरुमा धेरै पक्षहरुबाट छलफलको माग गर्दछ समितिमा छलफल गर्ने क्रममा र त यसरी गरिने छलफलहरूले समय लिन्छन् नै। सरकारले धेरै भएका विधेयकहरुको सन्दर्भमा चाहिँ संशोधनहरु पनि अलि बढी पर्छन् नि।
The government claims that work is underway. However, the reality shows otherwise. For instance, even after the subcommittee completed its work on the anti-corruption bill, it remains stalled. The subcommittee failed to reach consensus on all matters regarding federal civil service. All of this indicates that while the ruling parties did form one mechanism after another, they have failed to deliver results. Ultimately, for government effectiveness to be visible, the government itself needs to perform. However, surrounding itself with a parade of mechanisms will not suffice.
It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. Here's today's question. What's your take on the dissatisfaction of the ruling party members towards the workforce and government's mechanism? Your options are A, weak government work, B, political rhetoric, and C, review needed. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, the Minister for Forest and Environment in the Madhya Province government, Trivun Shah, who is from Janamat Party, has been criticized for his involvement in a scheme involving the buying and selling of government projects. Evidence shows that Shah, disregarding the dignity of his position, has been illegally forming consumer committees by going ward to ward and awarding development projects by appointing contractors himself.
Trivun Shah, currently serving as the Minister for Forest and Environment in Madhya Province, had promised voters during the election that he would never engage in corruption. And if he did, people could shame him by garlanding him with shoes and painting his face black and parading him through the area.
यदि भ्रष्टाचार में अगर जो हमरा कोई साबित करे थे, कतु प्रमाणित करे थे, तो हम वही से हम एकदम माने अनाउंस करे छी कि हमरा जूता के माला पहना के कालो मुसो दौल के पूरा 4 नंबर क्षेत्र में घुमा देंगे.
However, after becoming a minister, Shah has now become a controversial figure in the project trading scandal within his ministry. Investigations have revealed that he has been forming consumer committees illegally and appointing contractors to carry out development projects himself without proper procedure. Elected from Siraha 4 Constituency A, Minister Shah recently visited the ward chairperson of Mirchaya Municipality 5, Pradeep Shah. The minister requested the ward chair to approve a consumer committee he informed for a 10 million rupees embankment project on rivers near Mirchaya, offering financial incentives in return.
Register घुमाउने काम सही गराउने काम तो पासमान टोलमा भइरहेको थियो बुझ्दाखेरि बाहिर चाहिँ समिति बनिसकेको छ। त्यो मन्त्रीज्यूले तार जालीको जुन काम छ नि जाली बोल्डरको त्यसमा यो सही गरिदिनु भनेर हामीलाई कुरा राख्नु भयो त्यो मन्त्री।
Minister Shah has been directly appointing contractors for the projects under the committees he formed. In Mirchaya's market area, gravel has been stockpiled without permission from the local level or the district coordination committee. Shah has also been involved in illegal extraction, storage and sale of gravel. Local representatives and community leaders have expressed outrage, stating that ministers have placed middlemen in wards who come bearing project letters and contractors in hand.
मान्य मन्त्रीज्यूहरूको बिचौलियाहरू प्रत्येक वडामा को एउटा दुईवटा बिचौलियाहरू छन् र ठेकेदार समेतै लिएर आउँछन्। अब नाम नभनौं हैन, मन्त्रीज्यूहरू भनिसकेपछि पुगेको र त्यो बिचौलियाहरूले चिठी समेत लिएर आउँछन्। यो चिठीमा तोक लगाइदिनुस् पनि भन्छन्। यो ठेकेदार हाम्रो हो, उहाँलाई काम दिनुस् पनि भन्छन् र समिति समेत बनाएर आउँछ अनि तपाई यसमा हस्तान्तरण गरिदिनुस् र यो समिति कार्यान्वयन हुन्छ त्यतिसम्म पनि भन्छन्।
अब मन्त्रीहरू नै आफैले उपभोक्ता समिति गठन गर्नु र आफैले ठेकेदारहरूलाई लगाएर जुन भ्रष्टाचारी गरिरहेको छ यो भन्दा दुर्भाग्यको कुरो के हुन सक्छ।
It is highly suspicious that Janamat Party, which claims to be an alternative political force, has turned a blind eye to such behavior by its own minister. The Democratic Progressive Panel, led by Senior Advocate Vijay Prasad Mishra, has won the election of Nepal Bar Association. Senior Advocate Mishra has been elected as the Bar President with 5,552 votes. His closest competitor, Senior Advocate Raman Kumar Shrestha from the professional group, received 2,621 votes. After being elected newly elected President, Mishra pledged to work towards eliminating anomalies and irregularities within the judiciary.
गोपाल कृष्ण घिमिरेलाई बोलेकै कुरालाई लिएर फौजदारीमा परिणत गरेर अदालतको अवहेलना मुद्दा लगाइएको कुरामा हामी असाध्यै गम्भीर छौं। जब यो मुद्दाको टुङ्गो लाग्छ बेन्चबाट तब बार एसोसिएसनले उठाएका अरू एजेन्डाहरू पनि सम्बोधन भइसकेपछि हामी एउटा मार्गमा अघि बढ्छौं। बारको वाक स्वतन्त्रतामा नियन्त्रण गरेर बेन्च वा राज्यको कुनै पनि प्रणाली अघि बढ्छ भन्ने हामीलाई लाग्दैन।
Mishra stated that during his tenure, the bar would play a role in making the judiciary clean. He also informed about his plans for constitutional amendment, reforms in the structure of the judiciary and the Judicial Council, along with reforms in the working methods of the Council. Senior Advocate Kedar Koirala has been elected as the General Secretary with 4,874 votes. His closest contender, Yagyamani Neupani from the professional group, received 2,367 votes. Newly elected General Secretary Koirala stated that he would focus on improving the relationship between the bar and the bench.
न्यायपालिका र बारको बीचको सम्बन्धलाई हामीले राम्रो बनाउनको लागि हामी अन्तर्क्रिया र छलफल गर्छौं। त्यो अन्तर्क्रिया र छलफल गर्ने कुरालाई सम्बन्ध चिसो बनाउने भन्दा अब यो सम्बन्धलाई प्रगाढ बनाउनु पर्छ, न्यानो बनाउनु पर्छ र हाम्रा असमझदारीहरू केही छन् भने त्यसलाई हाम्रो वार्ता र संवादद्वारा त्यसको समाधान गर्नुपर्छ र त्यो दिशामा अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ मान्यता रहेको छ।
Padam Prasad Limbu from Koshi, Ajay Shankar Jha from Madhesh, Tej Bahadur Rawal from Bagmati, Bhupendra Khanal from Gandaki, Krishna Prasad Pokhrel from Lumbini, Bivas Kumar Basnet from Karnali and Siddharaj Ojha from Sudur Paschim have been elected as Vice Presidents. In the Nepal Bar election held on Sunday, the ruling CPN-UML and Nepali Congress affiliated lawyers organizations formed an alliance and nominated Vijay Prasad Mishra for the presidency. The opposition CPN Maoist Centre and Rashtra Swatantra Party affiliated lawyers organizations formed a panel led by Raman Kumar Shrestha. And in this context, in our Public Voice segment, we've asked in several provinces what should be the role of Nepal Bar Association to strengthen constitutional supremacy and rule of law. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
नेपाल बारका सदस्यहरू पहिलो शर्तमा राजनीतिक दल को भागभण्डाबाट मुक्त हुनुपर्छ, पार्टीगत राजनीतिबाट मुक्त भएर विधिको शासन लागू गराउनुपर्छ।
महिलाहरूको क्षमता विकास सँगसँगै हरेक ठाउँमा चाहिँ महिला कानुन व्यवसायहरूको चाहिँ प्रतिनिधित्व मात्रै होइन कि उहाँहरूको चाहिँ अर्थपूर्ण सहभागिता भयो भने
बार आफै चुक्नु भन्दा पनि कतिपय कुराहरू अब दलगत रूपमा लाग्यो भने त त्यसको अर्थ भएन। आफ्नो पार्टीले के निर्णय गरेको छ त्यो राम्रो नराम्रो नभनिकन त्यसै समर्थन गर्न थाल्यो भने त्यहाँ संवैधानिक सर्वोच्चताको प्रश्न आउँदैन।
कानुनको जगमा टेकेर न्याय प्रदान गर्नका लागि र समाजमा सामाजिक न्याय स्थापित गर्नका लागि बारले महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका खेल्न सक्छ।
न्यायालयमा राजनीति नहोस् भन्ने सुझाव छ। कानुनको अक्षरशः पालना गर्ने गरी विधिलाई विधिवत रूपमा सञ्चालन गर्नका लागि मुख्य रूपमा भूमिका निर्वाह गर्नुपर्छ।
रिटको माध्यमबाट ट्र्याकमा ल्याउने, सरकारलाई सही ट्र्याकमा हिँडाल्ने।
विभिन्न बार युनिटहरू छन्, तिनीहरूको चाहिँ संस्थागत सुधार, आवधिक निर्वाचन, त्यसपछि चाहिँ बार बेन्चको सम्बन्धमा चाहिँ एउटा नयाँ आयाम थप्नको लागि चाहिँ विभिन्न बार युनिटहरूलाई पनि संस्थागत रूपमा चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ बलियो बनाउनु जरुरी छ।
कानुन व्यवसायको वृद्धि विकासको लागि चाहिँ धेरै कामहरू गर्नुपर्छ।
विधिको शासनलाई आत्मसात गरेर आफ्ना गतिविधिहरू अगाडि बढायो भने हामीले संविधानको सर्वोच्चता कायम गर्न सक्छौँ।
अहिले पछिल्लो समयमा देखिरहेको जुन राजनीतिक विसङ्गतिहरू छ, जुन राजनीतिक एक खालको परिवेश र एउटा सिनारियो देखेको छ, त्यो परिवेश र सिनारियोलाई चिर्न पर्छ।
It is time now for international update. Palestinian death toll in Israeli military operations in the Gaza Strip since October 7, 2023 has risen to 50,886, with 115,875 others injured. In the past 24 hours, Israeli military operations killed 40 people and wounded 145 others in Gaza. They said that since dawn on Thursday, Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip have resulted in 22 deaths. Since the March 18 resumption of Israeli military operations, which led to the collapse of a 2-month ceasefire, 1,522 Palestinians have been killed and 3,834 injured, according to Gaza's health authorities. The authorities also called for increased medical supplies to address the critical shortage of essential medications and medical equipment in Gaza's hospitals and primary care centers. The shortages of medicines and medical supplies in Gaza is posing an unprecedented level of risk, the authorities say, adding that stocks of emergency drugs and medical supplies in operating rooms, ICUs and emergency departments have been depleted, with approximately 80,000 diabetic patients and 110,000 hypertension patients unable to obtain medication at primary healthcare centers. The authorities have cautioned that the closure of crossings into Gaza is exacerbating the ongoing crisis. According to UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, all crossings into Gaza have remained closed for humanitarian and commercial shipments since 2nd of March. 6 people, including 3 children, were killed after a helicopter carrying a family of Spanish tourists crashed into the Hudson River in New York on Thursday. 3 children and 3 adults were on board the helicopter at the time of the crash. 5 of the individuals were from Spain and the 6th person was the pilot. The identities of the victims would be released after the families are notified. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Officials say the helicopter lost control soon after turning at the George Washington Bridge to move along the New Jersey shoreline. Once on the scene, rescuers started searching the water for victims or survivors and initiated immediate life-saving measures, but the efforts were unsuccessful. 4 victims were pronounced dead on scene. The other 2 victims were pronounced dead at an area hospital. The part of the river where the helicopter crashed is near the west side of Manhattan. U.S. President Donald Trump called the crash terrible in a post on Truth Social. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.